Welcome to Draw Class, the show where we teach you how to draw things. I'm Caldwell.
I'm Nathan.
And today we are going to be drawing cartoony faces, thanks to who suggested this?
Michael Skiuk.
Michael Skiuk. Good, Skiuk. Good. So when you draw cartoony faces,
should we?
Yeah. Should we what?
Should we maybe start with talking about like what setup we've got going?
Yeah.
Here,
I'm going to get into this
in Photoshop because people have been asking.
Mm-hmm. You tell them I'm gonna set up some stuff here.
So yeah, if you wanna, this is like this is a new show we're trying out.
Yeah.
We're trying to be teachers. Neither of us are patient or understanding. So we'll see how good of teachers we make.
We're cruel and intolerant people.
Luckily, we don't have to deal with people directly.
Yeah, we deserve all the scorn that you
comments.
can heap on us.
All right, so those are some shapes. But yeah, so we're using Photoshop, and all we did was make a new layer.
Yep.
We've got our brush tool set on. We're using a drawing tablet.
This is a Wacom Cintiq.
Wacom Cintiq. We're drawing directly on the screen. But if you're good at looking at a different screen than what your finger is on.
You can use another type of Wacom, like a Intuos, or the cheapest one is the Bamboo. There's also a great line of tablets. Well, I can't speak of their quality, but there's a cheaper line called Monoprice, which I've been hearing a lot about. So you can check those out too.
And you can always just use pencil and paper. That's what Caldwell and I used most of our lives, probably.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, like,
and just make sure you have a good eraser because and either use a lighter type of pencil or just draw lightly.
I'd suggest a 2B or perhaps a 3H.
Yeah, an H to start. I would say
definitely. Don't start with a J or an F. You crazy, you madman.
Okay.
You get laughed out of art school.
But it's all we did was we on our. For those of you wondering what setup we're using, it's a drawing tablet with the size and pressure sensitivity turned on, and it looks like you're using a size 8.
That's size 8, yeah.
It doesn't
Another
matter.
important
it's just
thing.
Whatever size looks about that big on whatever screen size you're using.
Yeah. Another important thing is I'm going to pull over to image size. Make sure that when you draw, if you ever want to print what you're drawing, 300 DPI or higher is always what you're going to want. I usually draw at about 8.5 by 11. So just like a normal sheet of paper at 300 DPI. I'm doing a little smaller today because
to deal with the lag.
We got some lag issues.
Lag on our drawings.
Yeah, I got some.
We're doing a little smaller.
A little digital molasses pouring over my keyboard because of this here audio stream.
But yeah.
So let me get back into the actual tutorial.
You drew like a whole face in the time I was talking about.
I drew a friggin' guy.
You drew a guy. How'd you do that?
So what?
You didn't explain anything.
Goodbye. Thanks for watching the show. You learn nothing! The lesson to be learned here is when you're drawing cartoony faces, a good starting point is just to draw a shape. Think about the character that you're drawing and kind of like try and draw the character out from like the shape that you're drawing. So this guy, he's got a wider like weird pizza candy corn shaped head. And he's kind of stupid looking.
Yeah, because the part where his brain is smaller than the part where his chin should be.
And I'll say, especially if you want to draw like a child or a younger character, it's all about proportions a little bit. So you want to like maybe get like a bigger head shape up here because kids have weird big heads.
Yeah.
Like it's all about circles.
And
it's a lot about circles.
You drew a little cross section in there.
Yeah, that's just
that
so you
shows
can
the direction that it's facing. So it's not. It looks like it's at a slight angle, which is why you have one ear is completely in view while the other is sort of popping out from behind that little cheek bulge.
The cheek bulge.
There.
It's all about that cheek bulge, man.
Yeah, if you want to classic Caldwell art style is that little bean shape with the cheek bulge.
Another thing that Michael wanted us to talk about was how to draw scowling faces, and that's a good thing to teach.
Specific.
So we'll get into that. What I like to do is all about that brow. So you don't actually have to draw like a unibrow, but when you're drawing a scowling face,
the lines slope inwards down towards the nose, but then they sort of level off there. It's like a it's not a rigid angle. Although you can, depending on the style you're going.
Yeah, I guess I'll say like this.
This is
You can draw however you want, basically. These are just kind of like things that we do and things that we have learned. So like, really take this with a big old grain of salt. Like,
yeah, try it and then add your own spin on it.
Yeah, like I can't stress enough. Like, this is going to be a salty recipe because you're going to be putting lots of salts, grains.
So look at that. That's just
so it's got scowl going, and like another thing you can add, get a little bit of a brow ridge there.
Sure.
That'll help. This turned from a kid into like a grumpy old man, which is fine.
Like grumpy old man,
sometimes that's gonna happen.
Yeah. He's grumpy because people keep mistaking him for a kid when they see his face, and then.
Hey Nate, you wanna try this last one here?
Oh yeah, that's a fun,
mystery shape.
That's a weird. Okay.
I would say.
I don't even know where to begin with that. Oof. Okay, so yeah.
This is the new theme.
So this is like this looks kind of like Ed Singledy almost from Ed, Ed and Eddie.
There you go. Yeah.
So you got like.
The more obtuse the shape. Also, oh man, a great lesson.
I like putting the ears on first. That's like that sort of makes it a face.
That's how you can tell a Nathan.
And then I'll usually realize that the ears were in the wrong place after I've drawn the rest of the face.
I will say,
and then I'll change it.
Important. This is a fun little tip. Have you heard about the silhouette test, Nathan? You know what that is?
I actually don't.
Oh man,
why don't you explain it?
So what that is when you're drawing, you take your character and you see what they look like as a silhouette, and you should be able to tell different characters, like different cartoon characters, based solely on like what they look like in silhouette. Like so, like what like a black, like single black drawing of your character would look like.
That so is a good. That I should probably do that.
Yeah, like
probably make more interesting looking
you guys
characters.
Know the show Phineas and Ferb has like really really strong like fun character designs because like the main characters. You could like easily pick them out of a crowd, or like see them in silhouette and like know who they are exactly. Also, every cartoon character you draw should only have one tooth. That's a big rule here.
You know what? Just to prove you wrong, I'm gonna give him. You can do. There are a couple ways to draw teeth. You could draw like the line, just sort of like the group of teeth together, like that, or you could do individual. Like sort of lumpy teeth that are like sort of gross looking.
Or you could do like that fun 3D animated thing where like you draw all the teeth in perfect depth, just beautiful white pearly teeth.
Yeah,
and if perfectly you have rendered pupils.
If you have a computer rendering program, I'm just gonna give them.
Terrible, just ugly teeth.
I should just decrease the size of the eraser, but I'm too stubborn. Here we go. So he's. Yeah, and then eyes can be.
You're gonna want eyes. I must stress this.
Circles, but you can always like start with a circle because that's how eyeballs are, and then you add like lids to them.
Whoa!
And that changes. He's like, what? He just found out.
This guy's like, this is okay advice.
He found out some bad news.
I mean, I feel like. Maybe it's not 100% right, but it's a good start. I'll probably watch the next video. Sure.
Yeah. Those of you watching, I assume, are watching because you are either interested in art or this showed up on your feed and you're angry that this isn't as funny as you wanted. But if those of you who are watching because you like art and you're interested, there's a cool thing.
A cool thing is happening.
Gentlemen, that we're involved with.
Ladies.
If you have ever made a piece of art that could be considered fan art.
Keep going.
Basically means art that is an homage or a reference to a thing you like. Video game, TV show, movie.
Right.
You should submit it to Dorkly because they're hosting this thing called the Fan Art Expo.
Yes, at C2E2, which is
C2E2, which is Chicago's
Chicago's big comic convention. We
comic
are putting on a
convention.
full-on art show gallery. It's like a full-on, like, this is like a nice thing. It's like a nice affair. We're gonna have like full framed prints and everything of all of this art. And you can submit, and if we choose your piece, it will be displayed amongst this entire like gallery setting that we've got. It's called, again, the Fan Art Expo. Go to fanartexpo.com to submit your piece. We'll be judging them this Friday, so you don't have to make something new. You can submit an old piece if you have one.
But if you have time to make something new, you're welcome to do that as well.
And as Nathan said, it can be any sort of piece you want.
Anything that's
the light touches.
remotely related to a thing that exists.
Make
My Little Pony.
Yeah, sure.
Sonic.
Both.
Game of Thrones.
All of these things together.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Law and Order.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've gotten any Law and Order submissions yet. If you want to make a SVU, Ice-T saying
finally
some like Ice-T, but with like.
I'm picturing Ice-T like talking to like some elves, and he's just. I think my whole understanding of Ice-T's shtick is he's just kind of confused about everything, but is still a good cop. So he's just like, "How are you guys elves?" And they're like, "What? That's a weird question, Ice-T." And he's like, "We see you live forever?" And then he solves the mystery of who raped, a dwarf, I guess. What is this?
I don't know. Just like you can also mess around with like how far apart like the sizes of like when you're doing cartoons, it's good to have like a general sense of what the actual proportions of the human body are.
Yes. That's why you should take actual like drawing classes in addition to this.
Yeah, like take
practice.
Take some life drawing classes. Like actually practice drawing things. But then
you draw a naked guy.
But you can you can always like mess around with where things are positioned. Like clearly no one's eyes are this far apart ever. But
that's really rude, man. You don't know that. Like,
I guess I don't.
Check your eye spacing privilege, please.
It's true. You
gonna draw a tiny hat on the sky or what?
Yeah, it's a tiny little top hat.
So I guess last thing to mention while Nathan finishes this tiny cowboy hat, finishes drawing this delightful robot cowboy, is that you guys should tell us what to draw next. What would you teach you how to draw? What do you want to know how to draw?
To learn how to draw. It could be something as specific as like how to draw like a hand, or a face, or it could be something like I want to draw like I want to know how to draw a dragon.
I want to know how to draw like just,
not a dragon because I think Strong Bad pretty definitively
like,
covered how to.
Maybe like a drake or a worm.
A worm.
Or even a oh god, there's one more that I always forget about.
An elder dragon, a blood dragon.
Yeah. All these
wyvern.
A wyvern, that's what it is. Hot damn, a wyvern.
And you can always
get excited about dragons.
Like one of the fun things about digital drawing, but you can also do this if you just remember to draw lightly, which is something I never did. So I
do draw lightly.
And then you can always erase and then like make little tweaks.
That is the best advice to end on. Is if you mess up, just erase it and start over.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that people can see what we drew. We're happy. We'll be hanging out in the comments on this one as well.
Those some faces. If you found this very unhelpful, give us notes on how we could better make it, and maybe we'll try it.
And last but not least, thanks for watching. Don't take our advice. We're very sorry.